This is Natalia Colvin, and I am here today visiting with Anbaya Gold, and it is a great privilege actually to be here to visit and just talk about your products. Well, first of all, I would like to say thank you for your products. We hear lots of results, and we've just been getting this popularity of your product in our country, in Kazakhstan and Russia, and people sending the letter saying thank you for all these products. But at the same time, we get all these questions about who you are and how it's made. So, and I would like just to sit here and talk to you about first of all, maybe we'll start with your heritage, how you got passionate about this product, where it came from. So, and this whole idea, I heard that your father was a medical doctor, and did it start all there, or how did it come to be? Please tell me about yourself.
Well, first of all, let me tell you thank you. I thank you because of your great enthusiasm for which you have received the products. You seem to be thoroughly interested in assisting other people's health, and to be able to have a very large impact on people's health is really good for me. So I thank you for your trust, and I thank you for your adventuresome way of being able to trust coming all the way over to this country to bring something to your country.
Well, thank you. Yes, yeah. It is amazing product. So
yeah, I'm very happy with them. So anyway, the way you asked me a little bit about my background.
Yes, about just tell us your story, how it all came to be, maybe your heritage, and how you became passionate about it.
Well, the truth is that I don't really know exactly how it all came to be, but it definitely came to be in a very mysterious way. However, yes, my father was a doctor, and I grew up around medicine all the time, because breakfast table or lunch time or dinner time,
talks.
It was all medical talks. And then he would bring his, he was a professor at the university besides being a surgeon and a general practitioner, and he would bring these reels of films. So we used to watch the surgery on.
Oh my!
And so, obviously I got the bug somehow. But for my ways, I always wanted something very natural, because I didn't want to. I didn't like all these medicines, and actually he didn't really give us that many medicines. He was dead against them. So, which was good, because all the other doctors that I know wanted to give you more pills than you really needed.
Exactly.
And even as a young kid, I picked that up. So anyway, my life eventually led me to study Ayurveda. And Ayurveda is the medical science of India, and it is basically where all of the other medical sciences come from. It is ancient in its modalities, but they also covered all of the 8 branches of modern medicine. So even geriatrics and surgery, even all of the different branches of medicine. And one of the things that really inspired me about Ayurveda is that it followed the natural laws of nature. So it was completely natural in its approach, and the most important thing in Ayurveda was always discovering the cause of the problem and addressing the root cause. So when you got to look at Ayurvedic pharmacology or anything, it was always, the first question was, well, what is causing this condition? Instead of just appeasing the symptoms, you go to the root. And at the time, I was just totally inspired by some ancient knowledge. And one of the things that really got my attention was that they used to make medicines with precious gems or these metals that like gold and silver, and they would burn them basically, or prepare them in order to make these fabulous medicaments that gave some very, very great results.
Yes.
So
and what was your education in? Didn't you say?
I have actually a master's in special education for specifically for the emotionally disturbed.
Yeah, and I think you said you used to work with a group of girls or something, and that kind of affected also and led you to why you started working.
Well, one of the things that I got very early on when I worked with these children, I was quite young even before I started studying, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to have children like that,
Right.
or I wasn't going to be a parent that
Were
suffered
they
like that.
psychologically disturbed?
They
or
were very. We had all kinds of
emotional?
children, from autistic children
Okay.
to just bipolar and
Yeah.
very, very disturbed children that had to
Mhm.
be housed in this facility. So they were always having to be taken away from the parents.
Right.
The parents were always in agony, basically getting separated from the children,
Mm.
and it was just not a happy place.
No.
So at that time, I just made a mental note that if I could do something about that, I would. And my life led me to just teaching
Right.
in special education classes, and then I just had my own children, and that was more of an education that I asked for.
Oh, I bet.
No, I
Trust
like
me.
I love
I
that.
know how that goes. Yeah, I have one, so
Yeah.
I know how it goes.
Mhm.
And so your father wasn't then connected to it in any way, and like you said, he was actually against it, right? The natural herbal remedies or whatever. But then what happened?
Well, he was a traditional doctor, an allopathic doctor. He was a very good doctor and actually quite a compassionate man. And when he actually died at the age of 71, but he was basically poisoned and died in a very short period of time. But when he was in his deathbed, literally, he told me, "Sweetheart, go and do your little herbs and put some compassion in this science because there's none."
Yeah, it's almost
And
kind of like he commissioned you to do and to pursue your passion.
Yeah, that was
with
kind of
the remedies.
a surprise to me because he had always made fun of all of my herbs.
Right.
So, but at the end, he really
Wow.
honored that, and yeah, that was one of the things that kept me moving forward.
That's
And
great. That's
yeah.
great. Well, it's a good story. And now then, let's talk about your product in general, because I know there is so much involved, and it may be very simple, but at the same time very, complex formula. And I hear about this ORMA technology, then monatomics, then the fulvic and humic base. So I would like to start maybe, if you could in simple terms explain me, what is ORMA?
Okay.
How
Well,
would you explain this?
Can we back up a little bit? Let me just explain a little bit about, because you mentioned humic and you mentioned fulvic and you
Right.
mentioned the platinum group metals. They are all what I call primordial elements that we are all made up of. They are
Okay.
raw materials for life, and that's how I like to call them. The humic is a primordial matter which has come about by decomposition of all of the organic matter that has been in the earth for many millions of years, maybe, and there's deposits in the earth, and they get mined, and you have to find clean deposits and then process them, and out of the, you can call it distillation, that comes out of the humic, you get fulvic. So
Okay.
one is like the mother, and the other one is like the child. The humic has a much thicker molecule than the fulvic, and the fulvic has such a small molecule that it allows delivery into the cells, and that's its important quality.
Okay.
But the humic itself and the fulvic both are made up of all of the 85 different minerals that we're made up of,
Right.
and all the amino acids. So it's a very nutritious thing for us to take.
Right.
So going back to the little Ayurvedic teaching that I really valued was that when you go to the root source, disease seems to be coming from lack of nutrition many times. And there was a doctor, Linus Pauling, that got a Nobel Prize for stating that most disease comes from a lack of mineralization. Well, when you have enough minerals and enough vitamins, which act like catalytic to each other, then your body's going to have a chance to be able to work correctly.
So what would you say sets your product apart from the rest? Like, you see on the market different formulas of zeolite now, and some of them are already coming with the fulvic and humic base also, and different minerals and vitamins also. So how would you, define your product? What makes it so unique or special or different, from the rest?
Okay. Well, I'd like to say two things. One of them is very commonly just the fact that it's liquid, and there's not that many liquid supplements out there. Makes it very easy for the people to be able to utilize and absorb completely so that they get the maximum benefit. But the other side of it, which is the one that I like best, is that we make it with a lot of love. My intention for the product, and my son that works with me is very keen on being able to put this love energy into the products, and that energy to me is carried in the product, and whoever takes it will be able to imbibe
and
that.
How's
also.
it done? You say you put this love energy into
Well, one of the things that we do, we actually have a great intention. We do a prayer before every batch gets produced, and we also serenade all of our products in the lab every night with mantras, which carry special vibrations. So it's all frequency, so you can put frequency into the elements through sound or through light. And so that's one way we do it, or through intention.
Sounds good. So orme, and now did we talk about the orme use?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay,
let's
start.
The one that's very mysterious.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about orme. What is it?
Well, there's a lot of confusion about, or mystery about orms. Orm, O-R-M-E, actually it stands for orbitarily rearranged molecular elements. And that was a term that David Hudson, who was an Arizona farmer, coined in order to identify what he found in his land. And it actually took, I think it was a French or a German scientist to actually explain to them what was really going on. Well, what was going on at that time was that the elements that they were finding in this land were behaving in a way that they could not understand or predict, because they were appearing and disappearing. So what all of that led to was the modern study of something that was actually ancient knowledge. And what happens when a metal is in its monoatomic state is that it no longer combines with anything else. Its high spin state, when it's in a high spin state, it allows it to be a single atom which transcends time and space. So what they found was that these little molecules were seeing, and then all of a sudden they were not seeing, they were being there and disappearing.
So they constantly stay in the spinning state, even though the product is in the bottle. I mean, that's
yes, they stay in that state because they are not, they're whole, and they affect something in a particular way, but they can't bind to anything else. That's what's making them monoatomic. Mono means one, so they stay single. They stay single.
So that's what monoatomic elements are then.
Right. That's a very simplistic way of explaining it, but that's basically what they are.
So
and they travel outside of time. They seem to travel outside of time.
So is there like a chemical process how it's done, or any kind of technology that is used?
Well, distillation that was used many, many years ago, even just from salt water from the Dead Sea, was very, very common. And there is water processes, there's chemical processes, there's all kinds of processes, light process, because it's all, remember that everything is eventually frequency. So how you use it, or what modality that you get to that.
And then that's
state.
Where you actually have the quantum physics.
Well, we don't. I actually, I'm not claiming that I know how to do that myself, but I buy the product from people that do, and so I know the qualities. I appreciate them, and that's those raw materials is what we use in our products.
Okay, perfect. So we covered the monatomics and Orma, the platinum group of metals. Why did you choose to put the platinum metals into your formula?
Well, the platinum group metals are called, another name for them are the noble metals, and they carry a very high, they are able to be in a monatomic state, first of all.
Okay.
And because of that, they carry a very high frequency and an ability to be able to affect and communicate through light wave. So they are no longer affecting particles by physicality, but they are affecting something in the field or in your body or in your cells through light, and it's instant.
Wow.
So that is, and because of their high frequency, because they usually have very high frequency, they allow our body to be able to hold that high frequency. So you're asking me why I decided to use some of these. In my ideology, if you want to call it, or what I aspire to the highest of the divine human, to be able to affect the world and share and contribute to one another. So if something is of high frequency, that we imbibe, it's going to, by the same token, allow us to vibrate at a higher frequency. And so that will bring further awareness, or the possibility of that. It doesn't ensure it, but it definitely makes it a little bit lighter than if you were just very, very heavy and a very low frequency.
Okay, so because of all those properties that the product has, would you say that the product is very bioavailable? So its absorption levels are very, very high?
The absorption level is very high, yeah, it gets utilized by the body.
Yeah, and like I think you said before when we were just talking that your body doesn't have to waste its own energy in order to utilize it.
Yes, and that's one of the characteristics of these monoatomics, is that they exchange energy without losing energy.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's talk about the Zeolite formula that you have. So how would you define it, or how is it different from other zeolites? Like, where is it mined? Where is that mine located, and why did you choose that location? Maybe.
Okay. Well, first of all, there's many different zeolites, and zeolites are like a crystal that has a honeycomb structure that allows the negative ions to be able to, or molecules to be able to be brought into its little cage-like structure and be eliminated from the body. So the body still has to work at eliminating it, and that's why it's very good to drink a lot of liquids when you're taking zeolite. However, our zeolite product itself is not only the zeolite, although we have dry powder zeolite in our own company, but you all are buying the liquid zeolite, which is in a base of humic.
Right.
And humic is like one of these wonderful gifts of Mother Earth that gives us a lot of nutrition, because it's providing not only the necessary minerals, but it's also the amino acids, and it carries with it a very high factor of immunity called transfer factor, just like mother's milk.
Wow.
So at the same time that it is replacing and replenishing your minerals, it is removing that which you need, and it is improving your immune system. So we started making this product about almost 6 years ago. They carry a type of very clean zeolite called clinoptilolite.
Okay.
Which to me has always seemed like Superman food.
Superman. Yeah, I've heard there's so many of those zeolites, and some of them can be actually quite poisonous.
You need to make sure that they're clean.
You have to be very careful. Okay. Next, I would like to talk about the, maybe the dosage. I mean, how would you recommend one to take zeolite? Is there a particular way to start on? I mean, I know it says 5 to 6 or 8 drops 3 times daily. I mean, is there any recommendations again, or?
The zeolites in our product, we basically do in a bottle, and we do for a month supply or 2 month supply or 3 month supply. But I'll just give you an example.
Right.
let me preface it by saying something else. People that have I recommend or I suggest that people that have a lot, that know that they have a lot of toxicity, heavy metals, or they're taking a lot of pharmaceuticals, that they start out slow and build slow.
Okay.
And the other people just follow the recommendations, which is 5 or 7 drops once, 2 or 3 times a day, depending on how much you want to spend on your product.
Right.
But the truth is that you can take as much as you want, and it's not going to create a negative
So it's fairly
condition.
harmless.
I'll give you an example. I got bitten one time by a scorpion, and I was out in the wilderness because I was out by myself trying to do something away from. I didn't have any gas in my car that day. I was expecting my son to come and bring me some gas the next day. But when I got bitten, my whole arm started swelling up all the way to here. And I got panicked. Luckily, I had my zeolite with some hemp milk, and I drank 2 quarts. And I just drank the whole 2 quarts of the hemp milk, half with the zeolite and half hemp milk. And I watched that whole swelling just go down to nothing. And the next day, I had absolutely no pain, nothing. I just had a little cardboard sensation at the tip of my finger. But, you know, I took an amazing amount of zeolite, and nothing but good happened to me. So I determined that it was very, very safe.
Very safe.
My mother, who is 91, takes it every single day. My grandson, who was nursed, and my daughter took the zeolite during the whole pregnancy.
So it is safe for children and pregnant women and nursing mothers.
In my experience, it has been, but I'm not going to say that in camera.
Is it a particular recommendation on, you know, about with the dosage for children, like 2 years and younger or 2 years and older?
It's always by weight.
By weight.
So, you know, half or a fourth or a third, depending on the age of the child and the size of the child.
Okay.
Yeah. And what condition you're trying to alleviate. If you're just doing prevention, you know, the little ones could probably do with 1 or 2 drops a day, and that's it. So and then build up to it, so that we are not accumulating new toxins, and we are eliminating the ones that we already have.
Okay, that's good. So what about someone who is going through a chemotherapy? What is
these products would be very, very good for them, especially because of the qualities of the humic and the fulvic, which are very, very nutritious, and because of the immune builder. So they're not going to interfere with anything. The humic and the fulvic have the monoatomic elements inherent in them. So they're already in their ionic trace amounts. And they are very, very powerful. And even modern medicine now is doing more and more experimentation with adding these platinum group metals to their medications, or making them with them in order to combat cancer. So I don't really want to talk about that too much, because I'm not a scientist. I'm not
but what I'm saying is there is not a particular like time frame. Say you're allowed to take it only maybe 3 hours before you having your chemotherapy, or like 3 hours after. There is no such.
It would be very good to take it before the chemotherapy, because it would act to protect the good cells.
Okay.
So, and Ayurvedically speaking, it's actually very good to have chemotherapy if you're going to have it at 10 in the morning, at the time that the water element is present.
Wow. Have you had an experience, or maybe have you tried it on anybody, or know of anybody with HIV? Or
actually, yes, I have a friend who has been able to maintain his HIV with the humic acid and with our products for now over a year.
Wow. So then you recommend it? Okay.
Oh, I definitely recommend it.
Okay.
It may or may not take it away, but it will definitely assist them in their immune. It will assist their immune system greatly.
Right. So now, can we talk a little bit about the superconductive vitamins and minerals? It's the word in the name of your product, superconductive. So, I mean, can we maybe see a demonstration later, or I mean, what is it?
Well, we have the superconductive vitamins and minerals are essential to be able to have the body operate correctly, because we are electromagnetic, we are electric beings, we are beings of light, and we require the minerals for that conductivity and the activation of the vitamins for that conductivity. So they're essential. It's like the number one of being able to operate correctly. The electrolytes in your body, have to be very present, or you are not going to function.
Good.
But the term superconductive that I use it in the term of the light wave that the conductivity of these platinum group metals work through, because they are superconductors, because they don't lose energy while they're giving it. So in doing that, the communication is greatly enhanced.
The cellular communication.
The cellular communication.
Oh, that's great.
And one of the things that we can measure is strength and balance.
Okay.
And so if you would like, we can do
Yes,
that demonstration.
of course,
Maybe
yes.
if we set it up, we can do it at a different time.
I would love to. That would be
Okay.
great. That would be great. And another product that I would like to talk about is the oxygen. So why, how you came up with this formula? Why is it important? The country where I coming from, Kazakhstan, is, everybody is heavily smoking. So
Ouch.
it's in the valley. So, just the exhaust, the pipe exhaust and everything, people pretty much are breathing with, all those gases and everything. So do you think they would find it beneficial?
Oh, yes, extremely. Our oxygen product actually splits the oxygen and the hydrogen molecule and makes the oxygen more available to the blood. So ultimately, it's a very good cell food for your cells. It's a nourishment for your cells, and it gives you great oxygenation and hydrogenation, and it cleanses the body. You can actually use it also to clean water, to purify water. It's just a very, very great nutrient. It's good for athletes. It is definitely good for the lungs and overall purification. So it's very, very good. And good for the brain power.
That's great. So it sounds like your products then have more benefits than just physical benefits, right? It's kind of like they're working on you as a whole being, with human, spiritual, physical, and what do you call it?
Yes, the whole being, like you said, is actually very good. What they are, the products that we use are, like I say, raw materials for life. We are made up of those. So we're enhancing or replenishing that with which we are made up of. As we grow, we do the daily activities, we're always spending energy, and we may not be replenishing it to the level that we need. So when that happens and we keep not replenishing, the body starts having to compromise, because the heart may need more energy. It'll take it from the kidneys, or the kidney may need more energy. It'll take it from someone else. So you're always robbing Peter to pay Paul, so to speak. So if you keep yourself like with a good savings account of minerals and vitamins, then your body has enough energy to run and not exhaust itself. And as long as you keep replenishing the cells, because they are able to regenerate these cells, and that is one of their qualities, they should be able to run at their optimum state all the time. So the interference to the electrical flow, the interference to in any way to our body, is what we need to get away from, and that's why the zeolite is so important, so that energy flow is constant. And that energy flow allows your body to work, but not only your body, because if we are light beings and we all come from the same source and we carry this light stream, to the degree that we are able to receive the light stream through our spiritual connection, through our mental awareness, through our emotional being, to that degree we're going to be able to ground that which we are receiving and be able to express whatever it is that we want to create. And so that in itself will bring forth a lot of satisfaction. So we have a lot of happy people as opposed to
Yes, and I
unhappy
think I've
people.
experienced
Yeah.
it myself. Shared it with one of the guys. Yes.
Yeah. So I think that it definitely the products have a potential
Mhm.
to be able to affect every aspect of our spiritual, mental, physical, emotional body.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's
Mhm.
great. Well, I think it covers our interview, and if we can just later do a few of the experiments that we were talking about, that would be great. It
That'd
was
be
a
great.
pleasure chatting with you today about the production and the formulas and everything. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. You're very beautiful, and
Oh,
just
thank
you're
you.
so open. That's really wonderful to have.
Thank
Okay,
you. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh gosh, I almost died.
You did good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It flew good.